And welcome to Mechs, Myth, and Magic, Episode 2, where we will discuss Halo.
Perfect.
And everything involving in that. Halo Legends, Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo 4, Halo 5.
The best.
Also known as Guardians. Halo 6 Infinite. Actually, I think it's just called Halo Infinite. And most importantly,
ODST.
the new release trailer for Halo coming to Paramount Plus. But before we get into that, I'm going to need names and I'm going to need favorite giant robot. Go.
So for me, I think the first giant robot that I think about is I don't know if there's like I don't know how it is said in Japan, but it's the Megazord from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. That's my favorite. Huh?
And you are.
And I am a fan.
I'm talking about your name. Dude.
Oh, my
¿Cómo
name.
se llama?
¿Cómo se llama?
For our Spanish listeners.
Le llamo Eves. I don't even know if I said that right. I don't speak Spanish.
Me neither.
But yeah, it's Eves.
Nice.
Anong panalang mo?
You know, since you're so good with the languages there.
I just asked you what your name is, so go ahead.
Okay, well, my name is Tony Avila. And favorite giant robot for me, I gotta go what comes to me first, man, and that is the original 1979 Gundam Rx78-2. Reasons to love it: it's got a shield, it's got a lightsaber called a beam saber, it's got a beam lance, or I think it's a beam javelin. It's got beam rifles, which, I mean, everything that's beam is really just a laser, you know. But in the end, it's just a giant robot Jedi, and that's why I love it.
That's true. You got a beam saber. All right, so my name is Dante, and I'm with DanteDreams.com. And my favorite, you can't ask a man like me.
Yes, I can.
What my favorite, we're going to be here for a while, because I have to say why it's not the SDF-1, because that was the first thing that came to my mind was SDF-1 from Macross or Robotech, depending on what you watched first and what you love better. And, man, I love all giant robots. Okay, I don't love all giant robots. I love greatly designed giant robots, like man, I can't decide, man. There's a VF1, man. The Marvel Comics Sentinel has come to mind. That one's mostly
that's
just
a good one.
Yeah, that is a really
scary.
good
That thing's scary. So there's something about the Sentinel that comes to mind because I have this original painting of a Sentinel on my wall here.
It's a really cool poster.
Isn't that cool?
Should
Robo?
post
Oh
it
no,
somewhere.
one. It's
I'm gonna
a sentinel with a skull as a face.
So
and it
artsy.
is haunting.
I am become death.
And by the time I discovered the Sentinel, I had already found Japanese anime robots, so I was already into them. All kinds of super robots like Tranzor Z, Mansinger Z, the VF1, all those hyper stylized Japanese, mechs. But then here comes along the Sentinel, which was, drawn decades earlier. But I had just discovered the X-Men in the early '80s, and it had a weird design. It was a very simple. It was almost like a super robot because it had those lines to it, but it had this weird like Roman Greek helmet head and the death kind of face. It was not quite human, and that's not an accurate representation.
No, I know what a Sentinel looks like. It's just,
But there was something. The way John Romita would draw a Sentinel, just great. John Romita Jr., excuse me. I am an 70s, 80s kid, but JR. Those are great. But I'm going to have to go with, oh my gosh. You can't make
Yes, I can.
You guys definitely need to dedicate an episode to
Yes, we have to do an episode. Okay.
Tune into Mechs, Myth, and Magic, Episode 9, where we discuss robots, super and realistic.
Honestly, I'm gonna have to go with. I'm gonna have to go with the Macross Sumo, which is in Robotech the armored Veritech, right? It's just a VF1 in Battleoid mode. That's robot mode, and it has tons of extra armor and missiles and weaponry added on. It's so beautiful. It is. It's oh my gosh. It's just yes, that's the one.
I almost chose Battleoids in general because I love the idea that you have an F-14 Tomcat that turns into a giant robot.
Wow.
Yeah, I love it. So, Halo. We can work ourselves backwards on this one. That trailer. That trailer. I'm going to be honest. For something that I felt like was never going to happen, they dropped that trailer on us, and
Unexpectedly, I was not
bored.
expecting that.
Dude, not at all. Like, first off, they promised us this 9 years ago.
They promised this in 2007. Was that 9 years ago?
That was over 9 years ago. 2007?
2000 when
Oh, with the movie with Neil Blomkamp. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But I mean, when that died, I really didn't expect any kind of live action to ever come. And then there was the Game Awards. I believe it was in 2011. Maybe it was 2013.
Was that the Spielberg announcement?
Yeah, Spielberg announced that they were making a live action Halo, and then we didn't hear anything for 8 or 9 years, dude. And then the teaser released, and we just recently got a trailer, and I am pumped. But I have to say, no, you know what? I'm not going to get into my qualms. I'm going to start positive today.
Good
How about
idea.
that? Yeah. So, things I love. First, there's a small little tidbit, but I loved it. I absolutely adored it the moment I saw it. There is a first-person perspective with the assault rifle right there as an elite is about to swing on Master Chief. And if you just photo still that shot, it's very easy to think that's from the game.
Really?
I love it. Yep, that scene is followed by 2 elites fighting Master Chief, and he's swinging at one. There's this moment where he turns his gun around, and he just uses it like a baseball bat on one of them. And I was like, that is complete improvisation of a weapon, and I adore, I'm out of ammo, but I'm still going to make it work.
Nice.
Something about that strikes a chord of endearment for me. But, yeah. So, Dante, how are you feeling about this trailer?
So, I have to say, I really, I loved it. I mean, there's nothing. I mean, a lot of people are saying, there's this, there's nitpicking that, and I'm like, I'm for it. It's about time. I want any Halo. I'm for the 2 live action movies that already came out that were, not everyone accepted as the best, and yes, some of it wasn't the best, but it was Halo live action. Come on. I was happy with those. So I'm happy with anything I get. And so people are complaining about this or that, but it looks beautiful. It looks beautiful. The Irish actress that's playing Halsey, awesome. She's great. I love her. I can't remember. She has a weirdly pronounced name. That's all I remember about her. What is her name? I don't know. It's something very Celtic. But
Jamie, can you pull up that cast list for me?
you have to say young Jamie.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Or should we say young Eves?
That is a Joe Rogan Experience reference for
JRE. We're gonna hashtag you.
It's fun.
Okay. So what blew me away? I mean, besides all the awesome Halo live action visualizations, was that Cortana is played by the original voice actress Jen Taylor.
Yeah,
I've met her.
I got the list right here.
I've met Jen Taylor and the original voice for Master Chief at the Halo Outpost thing. Took a picture of them. Oh, I'm gonna post that. Gosh, she's a darling. Anyways, so people, some people complain about some of the visualizations, but I was blown away when I found out that was the actual actress. But seeing all the Halo mecha live up front. So I'm a big fan of people in armor with their helmets off. Specifically cosplay. If you look at any of my cosplay pictures, I like to take a lot of candids of like stormtroopers without their helmets on, Halo 501st cosplayers without their helmets on, because it looks so cool. Even a lot of my original art of like people in armor or whatever, it might be an old general in it or something like that, right? But I love that aesthetic. So they had a lot of that. Bokeem Woodbine, the female Spartan, whoever that was. Of course, Master Chief will probably be mostly faceless or have his thing because traditionally. But
we hope. Well, maybe not even hope.
I don't hope either way. But I assume he's going to be like that for most of it, and then maybe for special scenes he won't have his. I can't imagine them not showing that actor because he's an actor. He's not a voice actor.
So do you guys want to hear the list of the...
Just Halsey.
Give it to us.
Halsey. Natasha McHelone.
Exactly. See, it was this crazy Irish thing. Anyways, do you want the entire cast list?
You know what? If we reference anything, how about you pipe
You
in
said
there,
you said
so.
something about a female Spartan. There's a woman called she's Kate Kennedy as Kai 125.
Yeah,
So,
that's probably her.
I
And
wanna
Natasha
read my comment.
Kolzak as Riz 028.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead and give us that one again.
Natasha Kolzak as Riz 028.
Okay. Yeah. So Kate Kennedy plays the Spartan with the blue streak in her hair. In that preview, I believe it's blue. It may be pink.
And then there's a redhead girl, right?
Yeah,
very
yeah. And
small.
that's Natasha.
Okay.
And then there's this woman who plays Miranda Keys. Her name is Olive Gray.
Yep.
She's a UNSC officer and the daughter of Jacob Keys.
Yep.
Nice.
So that Spartan with the blue streak in her hair. When my wife and I were watching that trailer, and you see her in the armor, in the rig, getting everything put onto her, and then like she's walking with the sniper rifle or whatever. My wife immediately looked at me and was like, "She doesn't look very threatening," and that just made me think about how funny it would be to have a scene where you have this Spartan just murking people left and right, and then as like when the dust is settling and there's blood dripping off the armor, she pulls like one of those Japanese cute poses. I was like, well, there you go. There's the non-threatening Spartan for you. I have no doubt that she will do well in the role. Everything looks perfectly casted as far as visually. I don't have any discrepancies there. I think that was probably the most surprising thing to me is that I don't have any problem visually with what any of this stuff looks like. Even Cortana, I know that the internet is kind of in an uproar that she's not blue.
Chinese robots. No, go on. They're trying to make dissension.
Oh my gosh, maybe Russian bots in the chat. Anyway, even though that Cortana's not blue, I don't mind it because again, they've already expressed that this is something called the Silver Timeline, where they're kind of they're going away from the games and using the games more as a inspirational material for this series, as opposed to a hard Bible, if you will.
You know, the multiverse is a thing. I mean, it predates the... I mean, it came before the MCU. It became... You know, it's been part of fiction for a long time, but it is a theoretical physics idea that's out there. You know?
It is kind of funny that, like, post... Let's see, what would I say? When did most of this verse stuff... I guess in the past couple of years, maybe with the MCU... Like everything, there's no such thing now as like the cinematic interpretation and the comic book interpretation. Now it's like everything is its own separate universe, which includes this idea of like, well, if it's its own separate universe, maybe we can have this moment where the universes connect and then things can go from one side to the other. And I don't know. Why can't we go back to just saying like, well, you know, this is the TV series, so it's gonna look different in reality. But that's just me.
I think it's just because, you know, we try to cross all forms of media, so...
Yeah, it is a thing we do.
It's bound to happen, you know.
So that's one of the things. I mean, when it comes to a video game or a movie or a TV show or a play, they're all different. There are different kinds of media that are going to have different kinds of production value. I mean, movies are different from TV shows. Movies are different from novels, you know. Anyways, so their production value, I don't know why I brought that up.
It's all about money.
All right, so I want to do a quick rundown real quick. First, Master Chief, how do you think he look?
Great. Look perfect.
I think he looks incredible. The armor is very surprising to me because it looks like a lot of detail was put into it. It's not like the Halo Forward Unto Dawn armor, where it looked amazing, but it still felt like the whole thing was a foam suit. This one looks like it may actually be a different material other than
suspension of disbelief. I never thought that for Forward Unto Dawn.
There were a couple of scenes where
I was
it
just
looked
like,
a
it
little
looks
rubberized.
so good.
Yeah,
that was my
first viewing.
that was
I was
my
impressed. After going back and watching it 10, 11 times because of the nut job I am, I started to notice some of the fallacies, and I can't unsee that, you know. So, but just rewatching this trailer 10 to 20 times, the armor stands, it holds. And
so watching them walk, just three Spartans walking, it was like I got chills.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, like, oh my gosh, that's so good looking.
And I love that they're incorporating stuff from the games. Like, I don't know who he is, but the other male Spartan that we saw in this trailer, in full armor, in the middle of the three of them walking, his helmet looks like an EOD helmet. For anybody that plays,
I believe
the games,
that's a girl. I think that's one of the girls.
I think that's the dude because I think he's flanked by the girls.
EOD.
Yeah, an EOD helmet. It was
looks like a storm. It looks like a stormtrooper armor, actually.
Yeah,
helmet.
It was popular because people would dress it in white and black, and you could make a stormtrooper in Halo. Yeah. I can't remember what it stands, and I know that EOD is an actual thing in
explosive ordnance, demolition, something like that.
I'm pretty sure it stands for the same thing in Halo. Probably. It's an explosives thing, but the fact that there's a auxiliary armor from the game that people could choose, that you had to unlock, that wasn't something that was readily available, is included in the show right off the bat, is like, ooh, they're digging. They're getting into the good nitty-gritty stuff that, only real fans would see and appreciate at like a moment's glance, where everybody would be like, oh, that's cool, there's some differentiation. Every person that's ever played Halo Reach and on is like, I know that one.
EOD was in Halo 3.
Was it? I thought it was added with the Master Chief Collection. So it was originally
along with the Hayabusa and a bunch of the
Hayabusa. I remember the Recon armor.
Recon, yeah.
Yeah, I remember the ODST. I always rocked the ODST helmet. That was my choice in Halo 3.
I did Operator a bit in Halo 3, and mostly Hayabusa.
I don't believe Operator was in Halo 3. I think the Operator came in Reach.
Came in both.
Sure about
They're
that?
Different. Yeah.
Are you sure about that?
No.
Okay. It was cool to see armor that wasn't exactly Master Chief's armor.
When I say Operator, though, I'm thinking about there was a marathon type helmet. That's what I'm connecting with.
Oh, that big bubble looking one. Yeah, no, that was oh man, it's not the Aviator helmet.
Not the Aviator.
I can't remember what it was, but yeah, I know which one you're talking about. It looked like a fishbowl.
Yeah, that's totally marathon. Ooh, we need to do a deep dive into marathon one day.
So what is Halo about again?
Yes, we really got into the weeds on this one, and
I've only played the first one.
Okay. Dante, you want to tackle this?
Or? Sure. So Halo is a video game series made by Bungie, continued by 343 Industries. For the Xbox, originally the game was made for Macintosh. It was going to be a Macintosh computer, Apple Macintosh first-person shooter.
Wow.
This company made Marathon, and I thought originally that Halo was just a reskin of that, with 3D. But it ended up, during the production, it was totally something different, but then they used ideas from the earlier thing. I mean, they used ideas and icons from the... Anyways, so it's a video game. 500 years in the future, future space marine, bionic, super soldier. That's the Master Chief. That's the main character of Halo. And there's this big galactic war between Earth and this foreign organization. They call it the Covenant. It's a bunch of different aliens that are banded together to destroy humanity. And they're destroying the colonies, the outer colonies, and they're finally coming closer to Earth. And how they sold it with the original Halo was that Master Chief was the last Spartan, and he was going to help them in this last battle to save the universe or whatever. And they've added to that fiction. He was the last Spartan for that
generation.
No, for that game. And then they started adding different elements in the other. For the first 2 games, maybe 3 games, he was the only Spartan in those games, but all the other Spartans were deployed elsewhere or were killed during that same time period. So what happens is the One Earth ship escapes the battle for one of the main planets, Reach. It escapes, and it finds this ancient artifact, this planet-sized thing called Halo, and it's a ring world. It's a giant ring where the interior of the ring is a habitable space. There's atmosphere, mountains, water, everything, right? Animals, some animals we don't like. And so the aliens chase them there, and they fight for the ring. And there are some ancient Cthulhu-like monsters dug up, and there's an ancient species that created the Halo. It's just this really deep story and idea of what this universe is. It was just so well created. The story for the original Halo game was great. So there's some terrifying parts of it. There's like one level that is straight up like I think I remember screaming and running around like, no, don't kill me.
The library.
The library.
What? Is
We
that
don't
in the
speak
first
of the
game,
library.
or
Yeah, that's in the first
is
Halo.
that before the flood or whatever?
That is the flood.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah,
man,
I
we're
remember
spoiling
the
this
flood.
20-year-old game for everyone. No, I'm just kidding.
This
So
game has been out for like
20 years.
Yeah.
2001, yeah, 21 years now. Well, 21 years this upcoming fall, but yeah.
So so it's the
precise.
continuing battle. Half the Halo games is humanity and the Spartans versus this alien covenant. These, elites, grunts, and like Kogo and prophets. There's like 4, 5, 6 different species together. That are fighting the humans, and it goes on for a while, and then at the beginning of the 4th one, they have a new enemy. Yeah. I mean, did I miss anything? I missed a lot of stuff, but go
I
ahead.
think you got the basic gist of it. Yeah.
Fill in for where I missed.
That's a lot of filler, but ultimately, yeah, you have a story that revolves around humanity's war with a united race of aliens on a religious extermination of the human race. That is the basic concept of Halo.
And that's every Halo game. Like
No, that's half the Halo games. They have
Yeah.
a new enemy in the 4th game, and it's the builders of all these ancient structures like the Halo.
Mm-hmm. So we're talking about a franchise that spans
100,000 years.
like 8 games, almost close to 30 books, 2 web series, an upcoming TV show.
We got, like-
no, I
we
mean
got
like the
15
8
books
games,
here.
and then there's probably there's 2 mobile games. There's a lot to this franchise. That's
You didn't mention
about
Reach
20 years.
or ODST when you mentioned all the games.
I'm sorry.
ODST
right.
was really great.
I was talking more about Master Chief to begin with, but you know.
Yeah, true.
I'm
true.
sorry to all my Reach and ODST fans. They are beloved additions to the franchise. So, but okay, so Master Chief looks great.
He does.
Looks amazing. The armor
Looks
looks
great.
fantastic. The Covenant, this organization of different alien races that come together on a religious cause. Really, they're brought together under the idea that the creators of the original Halo were a godlike race that ascended to be gods. And their objective is to have that same ascension. They call it the Great Journey. Their way to become gods themselves. So, in all the games, and I don't know if they'll probably reference it in the show, because the Covenant looks to be pretty close to the way that they are interpreted in the games. They want to go on this great journey. And the alien race that created the Halo, as well as a lot of other ancient artifacts, are called the Forerunners. And if you go back to this trailer and you watch it, the old tech that Master Chief interacts with there that lights up when he touches it, that is Forerunner technology.
Yep.
Forerunner technology is a big problem in the universe because you have this amassed group of aliens that are like, we worship these people and we want to become gods like them, only to find out that, hey, there's this puny race of humans who can interact with the technology that we hold as religious. Like, so automatically puts them at ends. You know, they do not like each other because one can interact with the other's faith-based paraphernalia. I'm not sure if that's the correct word, but I'll use it.
you said, space faith based.
Faith-based.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Their entire religion is based around every artifact of the Forerunners they can find. And humanity is treating it like toys that
a
they can...
Game Boy.
Yeah. Toys in a sandbox. What can we learn and how can we do it? So, yeah, it's a very vast universe of a franchise. I love it. It's very space opera.
Literally
Literally. Like,
takes place in space.
yeah.
And they're singing. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's Macross.
Yeah.
No, they're singing. Oh,
Oh yeah, they have the Gorgon chant at the beginning. That's the one
All right,
thing I
Marty
affiliate
O'Donnell.
with Halo is that song. Just when I hear that, I'm like, someone's playing.
That Paramount commercial was pretty sharp.
Oh,
With
yeah.
all the Paramount characters. Why was I thinking that?
it's the theme song to Halo. Master Chief just shakes his head. Bunch of nerds.
So then, what did you guys say your favorite game was? You said Halo 3. When did you said Halo 3?
Is that your
I
favorite?
did not say that because
I said Halo
3
5 half joking. I still play Halo 5 even though
Okay.
Infinite's out. I like it a lot.
What's Infinite about now?
Okay, so we're going to back up a little bit here. In order to explain Infinite, you need to kind of do a quick rundown. The first 3 games really revolve around Master Chief's fight with the Covenant, the discovery of a ring world, and how that impacts Earth, right? And the safety of Earth. The second 3 games, really beginning with really just 4 and 5, deal now with the return of that ancient alien civilization that created the Halo, the Forerunners. So in Halo 4, you actually meet a Forerunner. Spoiler alert.
It's like 10 years ago.
Yeah, and you find out that he does not like human beings, and he hasn't liked human beings since before human beings. It's a very convoluted
didn't
story,
like the idea
but
of human
it's
beings,
it's really good. No, I mean like there were humans before what we know as humans today. Apparently there was this giant war where we fought the Forerunners, and then we lost, so they de-evolved us into apes again, while leaving some people still as
And
Homo
left us
sapien,
trapped
but
on
just,
Earth
very primitive.
Because 100,000 years ago, in the Halo chronology, humans were spacefaring people. It was like the Federation, pretty much, from Star Trek.
yeah.
They were all over the place. But when they encountered the Forerunners, there was like an accidental cause for war, and the Forerunners won. And like you said, they were devolved, and then they trapped them on Earth.
Yep.
Wow.
So you meet a Forerunner who is severely racist against human beings. He moves from there. You defeat him in that game, and then you move into Halo 5, where you lose the companion that you've had for the first 4 games.
Cortana?
At the end of the 4th game. Yep, Cortana.
I don't think we need to hide that. I think
Yeah.
Windows has extensively used her to promote their OS system. So
You're right, yeah. She has appeared in
Well,
a lot of places. So, you lose Cortana, and then in the 5th game, Cortana essentially survived what happened in the events of the 4th game, only to come back as this, I am now the Ascended, I am what everybody has sought to be, and I am taking control of the universe
So
with
she-
all my other AI friends.
So she what? Yeah. So she claims to be God then?
Pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah. She's like, I am the sole inheritor of all this technology and everything that makes me better than you. So
Even the name, she chose the name, I am the created. We, AI, are the created, as opposed to the creator, who a lot of people, that is God or whatever.
Oh wow.
So
It's
she-
a nice little spin.
Yeah. So she's the created, and her alliance of AI are the created. Anyways, go on.
So
And
wait,
immediately
what
declares
AIs?
war.
Everybody's little companions become part of her. or
Major
something?
companions, because
Yeah.
they do they have a lot of control over a lot of things.
basically,
nice.
every computer system in Halo has now been replaced with either a smart or a dumb AI. The idea that there is a artificial intelligence that can do things, and then there's an artificial intelligence that can think. So it depends on whether it's voluntary systems or involuntary systems. Everything that needs to be handled meticulously, that's handled by your average dumb AI that can just sort through stuff, and then your smart AI will think, contemplate, map, do everything that requires a bit more juice.
Make it more efficient.
Yeah. So she comes back. She comes back from in the 5th game and just decides like, all right, well, I am the best, and all y'all need to submit to me. In which case, humanity is like, no, and we leave, And she winds up doing some pretty heinous things, blowing up some worlds and stuff like that. But
Yeah, at the end of that, she's pretty much the winner at the end of Halo 5.
Yeah.
And you know what? I just thought that's probably why there's a lot of hate for Halo 5, for the story. Multiplayer for Halo 5 is probably some of the best multiplayer since Reach or Halo 3. It's top. It's till today, even with Halo Infinite out, it's still really good. I play half and half. When I do multiplayer, I still play Halo Infinite and Halo 5. But I thought so. The flaws in Halo 5's story, I think, that was the weakness of Halo 5. A lot of people really blow that up to say, "Oh, it's something major or whatever." And the flaws I was thinking about was Master Chief's turn. As if Master Chief would ever be a traitor to anything, right? So I thought some of that was clunkily written. Of course, we always knew that Master Chief wasn't going to be the bad guy, even though he's being chased down. I think a lot of people just didn't like that idea. But then also, Cortana's turn. I mean, Cortana is the beloved sidekick for for 4 games. You know, she's really important, right? She's the important part of the series, and then it's like having Luke be, you know, a failure in The Last Jedi. A lot of people's expectations were like, that's
We
my
can get
hero.
on our Star Wars kick later
Yeah.
because I have thoughts on that. But
Yeah. Oh, we should definitely. We should have a prequels episode and then a sequels episode. What do you think?
I think tune into Mechs Myth Madness. Madness, because that's going to be our separate branch of podcast where we just go into such severe detail that we completely lose the audience.
We haven't worked all the details out.
That sounds fun.
though.
That sounds fun.
That's pending.
So moving from all 5 of those games into Halo Infinite, Halo Infinite is kind of a soft reboot for the entire franchise.
Really?
It feels like they decided to go back to the original Halo and say, like, how can we do this game today, but we've got a ton of story baggage. And what it ultimately resulted in is a game that's fun to play, a game with a very compelling story, but a game that also doesn't answer your questions.
Okay, so is it
I was okay with
basically like the 20-year anniversary re-release of Halo Combat Evolved? Is that what you're saying?
It wasn't that.
No.
Was it the original
'Cause
story?
it's not the original story. In
No,
fact,
there
the
was
story
an
to this one,
There was actually one of those 10 years after. It's called
Oh,
the Master Chief Collection or the
yeah.
Halo
Well, we got the anniversary edition, and then we got the Master Chief Collection with the anniversary of 2. So,
Got you.
yeah.
So they did redo the original material. Now, when he's saying reboot, he's just saying in some ways they brought it back to the core.
Yeah, it really is just Master Chief crash lands on a ring world and has to discover what's going on.
okay.
Which is the
It's
events of the
another
first
ring
game. Yeah.
world. How
Yeah,
many
yeah,
ring
yeah.
worlds has he landed on?
7.
No,
No,
he's,
3.
he has landed on 3.
Yeah, there are
And-
7 though.
He's landed on 3, and a separate world that controls the ring world.
He's blown up a couple of them too.
Yeah.
So
Explosions,
Master
that's his
Chief
thing.
is a planet killer.
yeah, seems like it. So then is Cortana good again or what?
So
Well, without
so complicated a question.
without spoiling the events of this game,
Halo Infinite just came
How
out.
long is it? How long has it
It
been
came
out
out-
for?
Month,
no, it came out in November,
December.
December. Yeah, first week of
so,
December.
I mean, those who have played it,
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, we can totally
should
go
we-
into the
should we
weeds on this
spoil
one.
I wouldn't even
Infinite?
go to. I mean, it's been a month
No, it's
now.
spoil. Yeah, so.
So
All right, hey,
whoever's
let's do
gonna
it.
Play it. They
No,
probably
So-
already got
I'm
it.
not for spoiling a 5-year-old
tell me
game is
after.
one thing, but spoiling a game that's current out, I
All right.
respect the game makers enough now.
Okay, understood. I will say that you could tell me afterwards because I'm never gonna buy the game.
Okay.
So
So tune into Mechs, Myth, and Magic episode 100, where we finally spoil
yeah,
Halo Infinite.
because it went like 10 years to do that. Crazy.
So essentially, Infinite does go back to the drawing board
Okay.
in a lot of ways.
Yeah, simplifies the story, goes back to its roots.
While at
makes
the same
sense.
time carrying the baggage of the story that it's been telling for
Yeah,
the past
yeah.
20 years.
Yeah, but that's not on the forefront.
Yeah.
Basically.
Well, it is kind of because everything in the game references something.
From the previous
Previous,
games.
yeah.
So do you see Forerunners? Are they still? the
They're
main
very much
villains?
present without actually appearing.
Okay.
And for the most part, the game absolutely tackles everything it needs to. The
Okay.
questions that a lot of the fans have left over are a lot of the like severe story junkies where we want to know every little thing to every little puzzle and what did this mean and what did that mean and
Got you.
you know, we want all that. Like, how does this tie into that? Who are these guys and why are they here and where did they come from? Like, we want to know all that stuff. If you're even the slightest bit into Halo games, you know that like the new antagonists of this game have not appeared in another game with Master Chief, so they kind of come from left field. While at the same time, they have an established presence from a previous game that was not part of the main story.
What game was that?
It would have been Halo Wars 2, which actually came out, I think, 2 or 3 years ago.
Came out in 2017.
Yeah, it's a real-time
2017.
strategy. There, yeah,
So
two
5
real-time-
years ago.
2 real-time strategy Halo games.
Mm-hmm. Which I wanted
Wars.
to say, the original Halo game was supposed to be an RTS. When
Yeah,
they were
yeah,
first
it was-
working on it.
It was
Yeah.
supposed to be a top-down. Yeah, they had like little players and stuff. And that's why what I was saying. When I was younger, I thought that it was just totally supposed to be a reskin of Marathon, which it ended up being. But they went through this entire process of like, we want to make this top-down real-time strategy game called, what do they call it, like Red Dawn or something, or Red something, and Red Shift or something. They had a bunch of different names for what Halo became.
I think at one point the project name was Monkey Butt.
It was. What? Deep dive. Explain that.
So I learned this from watching the Xbox documentary on YouTube for the 20th anniversary. It's a great 6-part documentary, highly recommended. But they get into Halo a little bit, and one of the things that they talk about is when they were creating Halo, they named it Project Monkey Butt, but they had to change the name because one of the creators could not tell his mom what the name of the project was without being severely chastised by his parentage.
Wow, funny.
Apparently that was the case. I don't know if it's a true story or not, or if it was just made up for the documentary, but it's hilarious to think that a bunch of college students were like, hey, let's call it Monkey Butt. And then when they actually had to tell somebody, they were like, yeah, so this is what wisdom is, learning from your mistakes, and this was not a good idea.
Yeah, and so, yeah, it went from being a top-down real-time strategy to a third person. I think when they did the first trailer at Macworld 99, I think it might have still been a third person. But when it finally, came to fruition on Xbox in 2001, it was our first-person shooter that we all know and love, which was just perfect. Because there had been first-person shooters for game consoles before, a la GoldenEye, and a few. I think there are others, but Halo was perfect. It just felt right. The controls, it might take a long time to master, but they felt intuitive, which was like, man, I played GoldenEye a few years ago, and it was like, I just don't get it. It's everything's backwards. But
that Duke controller was a mess, though. My hands were not big enough for that when I first played it.
Yeah, the Duke. I think there is a Duke controller for the Xbox Series
X. I saw that. Some people have been pumping them out. Yeah. So, and for anybody who doesn't know, the original controller for the original Xbox that came out in 2001, I believe, was this massive, just like spherical button monstrosity.
It was just big. It was like a fatty boom batty. It was just like it felt like you're holding this. And look at my hands. If you're watching, it felt like that. Talking
about the original Xbox controller.
The original Xbox controller. Now named
it always
the
felt
Duke.
uncomfortable when I held it, and that's another reason why I didn't like Xbox at all.
Yeah. So I stuck with it, and eventually was rewarded with a nice, slim, ergonomic controller that fit
they
my
learned
hands.
their lessons.
All right, let me talk about my Halo journey. So, in the 90s, I was a Mac dude. I was like a Mac fanboy, whatever. So I played all the Marathon games, right? And when I heard about Halo for the first time, I was like, yes! Yeah, we're getting another high-class shooter for Apple, right? And then a couple years later, I remember reading the news that it was bought out by Microsoft. And it's like, oh, man. And I was disappointed for many years. I didn't even adopt Halo until 2004, maybe. I'd play occasionally with your brother-in-law. We'd play Halo. We'd have LAN sessions where we'd bring 4 Xboxes and like 8 TVs or what it was to someone's house, lug up a big 27-inch, 3 stories. Yes, Tristan, I remember that. That was horrible. But it was fun. It was so much fun. That's what Halo used to be for Halo 1 and Halo 2 to a lesser extent, because they had online gameplay with Halo 2, but still people were having LAN parties, right? But then by Halo 3 time, it was fully online mostly. Most people were playing online. The online gaming became huge, with Halo 2, but there were still LAN parties. But I have to admit, I was reluctant because I was a PC gamer. Right? And mouse and keyboard all the way, like CS:GO, Call of Duty, TAC Ops, that kind of stuff. Unreal. What other first-person shooters did we play? I don't know. What's the one with the demon? Doom. Doom. Those, you know,
With the Demon of Doom. I need to hear that songified. Demon of Doom. Demon of Doom.
Anyways,
There's a YouTube channel we could turn that into.
so I was geared up for mouse and keyboard, right? So those first couple of years playing, you know, a little bit with the guys, it's like, what is this controller stuff? I hate this, and I wasn't really as good at it. You know, Halo 1, I didn't learn until Halo 3 that in Halo 1 the pistol was the gun to use always. It's like a sniper rifle. You can shoot across the map, man, with that thing. It was
Very meta.
yes, I don't know. And you know what? That was a carryover from Marathon. Their hand cannon was also a sniper rifle, pretty much. Which by Halo 2, Halo 3, I think they had taught to some like military advised actual Marines who must have told me, you know, this is only good from here to here, which is 4 to 10 feet. A pistol is not a long range weapon. You know, if you have a long ranged pistol, it's a light caliber with a lot of optics, and it shoots one shot. All right, you're not gonna get a 45 to be a sniper rifle. It's not gonna happen. That's not real life. So it's funny. Halo's gone from nerfing the pistol to having it being overpowered. I just didn't know it when I was playing Halo 1. Now, if I ever play like any Master Chief Halo 1 iteration, I'm like, give me that Magnum, because I'm going to snipe you from across the field, bro.
Nice.
And, you know, the BXR and all that. So I learned all that stuff late, and I was an okay Halo player. Halo 3 and Halo Reach is when I learned to be a precision guy, a headshot honcho. Because to get through Legendary in those games, you had to just headshot people. You had to, otherwise you'd run out of ammo, and it's an impossible game to play. So, I'm also doing Legendary run through for Infinite now. It's like my 4th or 5th run through of Halo Infinite. I stopped playing multiplayer for the most part because I was just doing the campaign. I love the campaign. Halo Infinite's campaign is superb. It's like, it's almost impossible to complain about it. It's beautiful. Good job, 343i.
So one of the beautiful things about Halo is the difficulty. Legendary created a status among gamers where you could have this claim before achievements came out. I beat Halo on Legendary. Okay, that guy's a serious gamer. You know, when
Did you guys beat Halo on Legendary?
Yes.
yeah. Now,
Well, I'm on a Legendary run through for Infinite right now, but all the other games, yes.
yeah,
Except for Halo 1, I think I might have done that one Legendary on PC, not the original. I can't remember.
it's evolved though. I mean, like, one of the new things that I keep hearing about, and this has been around for a while, probably since Halo 3, when skulls were introduced in a way that they impacted the game. The new thing now is a mode called Lasso, which is Legendary all skulls on. And you have to keep in mind that one of these skulls, when turned on, makes all your enemies invisible. And another skull makes everything that explode twice as much.
Yeah.
And you get no radar. In fact, you can't even see your gun. There's no aiming reticle with one of these skulls. Like, it makes the game bonkers to play. I'm not even going to attempt that. I'm not the kind of guy that's like, I beat Halo on Lasso. You know, I'm not going to be that dude. I am quite comfortable on my couch with a heroic difficulty, which is your average hard level. Every once in a while, I get a little spicy and decide to try some Legendary. I think I beat the first 5 games on Legendary, and I have not attempted Infinite. In fact, I'm working on my second run through right now on Infinite, just on normal, like, because there's so much to take in and so many things to do, and I can't replay levels. 343, please give me level replay. Ultimately, though, Infinite is, in my opinion, a success. It's done very well. It's everything that kind of we needed to see for the franchise to move forward. And I'm very happy that there's a lot of synchronization with this new series coming up. The armor very much is reminiscent of Infinite, where if you're starting out with Master Chief, a lot of people, I think, expected to go back to what we call the Mark IV armor, which is what he wore in the first game. They're starting right now with the armor that he has currently in the games, and it's good for synergy. You know, it'll work well just to keep the face of Master Chief the same. dude, that live action trailer, I'm still buzzing over though. There's so
I'm
much.
gonna watch it again. I've only watched it a few times. I try not to watch stuff like that on cell phones or tablets or something. Or even computer monitors. I want to watch it on as big a screen as I can get with surround sound.
Absolutely.
Because this is, I mean, phones are not where it's at for watching trailers, in my opinion.
Yeah. So there are a few things. If we go back to that trailer, unless we still want to talk about the games.
Yeah, we do. Go on.
Let's talk about the games with the trailer.
Whatever you want to talk about.
Okay, so I have a little bit of a concern with the trailer for the series. There's this one character, I believe her name is Maki. She is seen briefly one time in this like getup that looks like it's straight out of Star Wars. One of those bold people with it's like super pale behind that meets Obi-Wan Kenobi on Utapau.
Okay.
You know,
one of those.
There is no war here unless you bring it with you. You know that guy.
That's Ton Wei.
That's Tom Wei.
That's the girl that's in We Were Warriors that we were talking about. In
Okay,
episode
well
1.
that dude, whatever Maki's wearing in this
that
trailer,
wasn't Ton Wei. Ton
it
Wei's
looks
the girl.
just like that, but in like a deep blue. And there's an issue. I think the concern that I have is that in the games, humanity is viewed as the enemy by the Covenant. They want nothing to do with us aside from our eradication from the galaxy. And in this show, very briefly, they've already established there is a human amongst the Covenant. And I'm wondering, how is this going to play out? This can be very good or very bad, because my first concern is that it's going to take away time from the Master Chief to give us an in on the Covenant. And I don't really want an in on the Covenant. I kind of just want the struggle of humanity against this dominating force moving through the galaxy, constantly keeping humanity on its heels, as opposed to like, well, we're going to put this character, and I don't know if this is the case, but this is what I'm fearing is going to happen. We're going to put this character that gives people like somewhat of a sentimental attachment inside of the Covenant so that we can get a look inside of the Covenant. And to be honest, when that first game came out, the Covenant were very alien. In fact, they were treated, there's a lot of references to both Alien and Predator in the Covenant themselves.
Oh, yeah.
And it created this, like, thing in the dark feeling, you know? That very first level in Halo, they don't show you an elite until you're nearly done with the level. You're fighting little grunts that are, wah! You know? They're very comical to kill and a lot of fun. But this thing that's meant to, like, actually be able to stand up against Master Chief, you don't meet until later. And it's, you know, every time you're getting little glimpses of it, a door is shutting and it's turning the corner. A door is opening and it's turning, like, you just catch its heel and things like that. Like, you don't see an elite.
What that first level is like? Like when you're escaping when
you're skating
Pillar
in the Pillar of Autumn, they treat the
I'm vaguely
elites
remembering that now.
as somewhat mysterious until you actually fight one. And, you know, after that, they just keep throwing them at you. So, you know, here's this thing that you found scary, now have 10 of them.
It's still scary when you run into a couple of them and they're invisible.
Oh, man, that is horrifying.
It's creepy. I mean, because the AI in Halo 1 was really good. They're very good at avoiding how you shoot. And, yeah, the elites they can be creepy, man.
It's an electric, it's an invisible death, and nothing scares me more than the things I can't see.
Yeah.
So, back to the trailer. I'm hoping they do good with it. I'm open to the idea. Obviously, it's going to be a big departure from the original canon. But again, it's a TV series. It's a new interpretation, so it's going to be different. It has to be different in order for it to succeed. If we're making a series that's wall or frame for frame what the games were, it's not going to be as interesting, you know? Especially for those that actually played the game. So I'm open to it, but I do have some concerns. I'm not going to let that affect my expectations. But I will
reference the previous episode if you want to get that comment.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't snap on mic, but I'm going to do it anyway.
No, it's fine.
Okay, so that is a little bit of a thing for me. But all in all, I severely enjoy this trailer.
Yeah.
I am really looking forward to this series, and Halo just seems like it's on the up. Whereas we had kind of one of the biggest down points after 5 came out. You know, the fan base was fractured. Some people were not
Chinese robots. And
Some people
Russian
did not
robots.
like that 5th game,
I'm telling you,
which is okay.
causing dissensions, man. They want to break
If you
America.
don't like the 5th game, it's perfectly fine. It means nothing about your fandom because you are a fan in the way that you determine.
So I don't want to end this episode in a
Well, I still have some stuff to talk about.
bad note. Oh yeah, you got a couple more minutes. I'm very neutral about it. I probably won't sit down and watch it with one of you guys if you guys are watching it. Just
We should
'cause
have watch parties.
I
Yeah.
probably that'd be dope. I mean I have no stakes in it. My only issue is that the Halo games, I mean, they're first person FPSs where the only other character that you're interacting with is Cortana, and I guess other segments they're talking to military and maybe
That's your main
civilians and
companion,
stuff.
though.
Yeah, so just to, I imagine it might be similar to what you were saying, where it'll be revolving around a lot of the characters outside of Master Chief, and he might, again, I don't like using Mad Max every single time as a reference, but like more so he'll be like not sidelined, but
Just take a back seat and watch. We'll see what happens.
yeah, we'll see. Definitely.
Non-Halo lover. Maybe one
Sorry,
day.
man, I just
Maybe
didn't grow
one
up playing
day.
FPSs,
Maybe this will
man. I
convert
was,
you. Maybe this will convert you.
I feel like
JRPG. Nah, I mean, I'll sit and play a Halo. I played Halo 1 with David Minter, so I'm willing to play like co-op mode, but on my own.
On Legendary?
it's not.
New Legendary.
On Legendary, I don't know how to even hold a controller for FPS.
Well, that's why I was there.
It's terrible.
I'll guide you.
it's really just like 2 fingers
I'll
I
guide
just
you
even
both
the
through.
and
directional.
2 thumbs.
I'll give you guys a tank gun. You guys can have a tank gun.
I wish if I could play it with one of those VR systems where you ever see those like
Yeah.
pad where you can like
The
stand.
haptic.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, if I could do
Omnidirectional
that, I would be
treadmill.
totally into FPSs. And I actually would like to go visit one sometime.
That's
We gotta
going to
find
be
a
the
place to do
exercise
that.
for when we're 80. Hey, let's get on the treadmill.
No, we gotta
We're
find
gonna hop
something
on
like
here.
that.
And go to the
47.
Oasis.
They usually have booths at like conventions and stuff where you can play games. I don't know if Halo.
Well,
is
you
one
could
of the
buy one for your
games.
house right now. Just
Yeah,
be
you're
around
right. You
50K.
could. Yeah. But I would play an FPS with just that because
Dude,
I think it would simplify
I've
the
done
controls.
VR, first-person VRs without that, and they're exhausting. So being on an
Yes,
omnidirectional
yes.
treadmill, that'd be like we'd all be marathon runners.
I have an Oculus 2.
Yeah.
And I have yet to install anything on it. But if I could get Halo, I would play it on that most definitely, because then me being able to move around would just be me moving around and not like toggling these two.
Yeah.
I don't like that. It's just not how I play.
I think the
games,
most
so.
interesting thing about that, though, is most modern games have in some way that same system of one thumbstick is camera and the other is character movement.
Yeah, like I played God of War 2018, which is a fantastic game. I love that game, and it's third person, and I love it. Like that one, the controls are very fluid. Like if I was to compare like what you said about Halo, it's like intuitive controls. Like that game to me felt intuitive. Now again, I didn't play it on like
Teal
God
from
mode or anything.
SG1 was the voice actor for.
Yeah. Christopher
Judge.
Yeah, great actor.
Love that guy.
Yeah, man.
Oh, so back to the Halo. What you're talking about the trailer and about the live action and stuff. So they definitely made changes. Some people are complaining about the canon. They've said it's a different canon, whatever. So it's going to be different. The difference is, though, that I'm slightly concerned about, like you. It's like, did they change it to advance the story or to make the story better? Or did they change it for some other alternative reason, like it would be easier to film or something like that? Like, I heard there was some discussion on some of the Halo forums in groups that they think that the human Covenant girl, is going to play like the Arbiter.
Ugh.
Yeah. So
That does not leave a good taste in my mouth.
but that's just internet. Who knows what the internet?
Yeah.
The internet's most likely wrong. But
gotta
as
have
long as it is to improve rather than to just do whatever, like Fox the Fox X-Men movies or whatever, they take the name of something and change everything.
Yeah.
In my opinion, that's what they would do with like Fantastic Four. They take the name and then they changed everything. The property that they bought or rented or whatever it was had all the stories in it. They could have just followed it.
Yeah.
So if they're changing it to improve it in whatever way or whatever, it plays better because it's a different medium. You know, it's not a video game.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. One more thing. So that's my opinion on the show. I am not disappointed by anything. Hopefully their decisions will be good decisions. We'll see. We were talking about Legendary and Lasso. I just had a discussion. So in the new Halo Infinite game, they have this so-called glitch. It's probably not a glitch. You can carry a tank gun, right? You can shoot a tank gun, and you can one-shot bosses. So I did that on easy because I was doing a skull run. It felt so bad, but so good. But my discussion was I was doing a Legendary run through, and I was coming to the point where I could pick up the tank gun or not. You can only pick it up in a certain place. And my question was, is it still Legendary if I'm using a tank gun? And it was half and half. A lot of the guys were like, no, cheater, whatever. It's like, it's built in the game. I did it, whatever. So I was really conflicted. And when it came to the tank gun, I decided not to. I mean, the first couple levels, you're really in a confined space, and it's so tough on Legendary, right? Grunts were killing me left and right. And plus, it takes a little while to get used to the Legendary difficulty where anyone can kill you, right? But I got past that point and decided not to use a tank gun. And I'm so happy I did. I'm like maybe halfway through now, and I'm just... Legendary is working. I can do Legendary.
I think it makes sense because the idea is for you to be finesse. You have to have really, really good skills to make it through the game, right? It's about the level of difficulty.
So Legendary, like Tony was saying, is a point of pride, right? Mm-hmm. And if you're using a tank gun, no one would know but you, right? But still, it's a point of pride. I feel like the fact that I'm getting through Legendary now, that's, you know...
It's a feat.
It's an accomplishment,
yeah,
yes.
That's good.
So,
yeah.
But if I ever do Lasso, which I've never done, I'm using a tank gun. Like, Lasso's stupid. I mean, it's like stupid hard, I think. But with a tank gun, maybe.
Well put. That's life advice right there. With a tank gun, maybe. So thank you for joining us on Mechs, Myth, and Magic. We'd love to see you in the next episode. Again, this is episode 2. Stay nerdy, be legendary, and have a good day, y'all.
Hey, like us or give us a 4-star wherever you're listening or watching us.
Yeah, we are currently on iTunes, Spotify, and we'll
watch us here on YouTube.
On other platforms that'll be available for podcasting. All right.
Have a good night, y'all.